The autumn morning in Detroit was frigid, with golden leaves dancing across the sidewalk as Terry Crews stepped out of the community center, where he had just finished speaking to local youth about perseverance and overcoming obstacles. The actor and former NFL player had made it a priority to give back to communities like this one, where many families struggled to survive. The cold wind cut across Terry's face as he walked toward his car, his boots echoing on the cracked asphalt. The neighborhood showed clear signs of economic hardship: windows boarded up, old cars rusting in the streets, and buildings with peeling paint. But Terry saw beyond that. He saw potential. He saw community. He saw hope. That's when he noticed a small figure sitting on the concrete steps of a nearby apartment building. The boy, who couldn't have been more than 8 years old, was hunched forward, his thin shoulders trembling slightly in the cold morning air. He wore a faded red t-shirt that was too big for his small body, and jeans with holes in the knees. What caught Terry's attention most was the boy's posture, completely defeated for someone so young. His small hands were clasped together, and he stared intently at the ground, as if carrying the weight of the world. "Hey there, champ," Terry called out gently, his naturally warm voice echoing through the quiet street. "You doing okay?" The boy quickly lifted his head, his dark eyes widening with surprise and a flash of recognition. For a moment, he remained completely still, as if he couldn't believe what he was seeing. You're Terry Crews," he whispered, his voice barely audible, mixing admiration with shyness. Terry smiled, that genuine smile that had endeared him to audiences, and approached slowly, not wanting to intimidate the child. He could see that the boy was nervous, but also fascinated. "That's right, buddy. What's your name?" Terry asked, stopping at a respectful distance. "Marcus," the boy replied, quickly wiping his eyes with the back of his hand, trying to disguise that he had been crying. "I saw you on TV. My mom says you're really strong and that you help people." "Well, your mom's not wrong," Terry chuckled, softly, sitting down on the step next to Marcus, making sure to leave comfortable space between them. The concrete was cold, even through his clothes. "But right now, I'm more worried about you. What's got you sitting out here looking so sad?" Marcus hesitated, his small hands nervously fidgeting with the frayed edges of his jeans. The morning sun cast long shadows across the cracked pavement, and the distant sound of traffic hummed in the background. Children in other apartments could be heard getting ready for school, their cheerful voices contrasting with the heavy silence surrounding Marcus. After a long moment, with Terry waiting patiently, Marcus finally spoke, his voice barely above, a whisper. "I can't go to school today," Marcus said, his lower lip trembling slightly. "I don't have any shoes." Terry's heart immediately ached for the boy. He looked down and noticed that Marcus was indeed barefoot, his small feet dirty from the cold pavement. The reality of the situation hit him like a punch. This wasn't just about shoes, it was about a family struggling to meet basic needs in one of the coldest cities in the United States. "Where's your mom, Marcus?" Terry asked gently, his protective instincts kicking in. He could see dirt marks on the boy's feet and wondered how long he had been without proper footwear. "She's inside, getting ready for her second job," Marcus explained, pointing to the building behind them. His voice carried a maturity too sad for his age. "She works at the restaurant downtown in the morning and cleans offices at night. She said she's trying to save money for new shoes for me, but the rent was due and—" His voice trailed off, and Terry could see the weight of adult worries pressing down on the child's small shoulders. It was devastating to see someone so young, already understanding the cruel realities of financial struggle. Marcus continued, his words coming out in a torrent as if it was a relief to finally tell someone. "The other boys at school keep asking me why I haven't been going. I make up excuses, but they're starting to get suspicious, and it's getting colder. My feet hurt when I walk on the sidewalk." "Would it be okay if I met your mom?" Terry asked carefully. "I'd really like to talk to her." Marcus's eyes lit up with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Really?" You want to meet my mom? She's going to freak out. She always talks about how you inspire people." Before Terry could respond, the apartment door opened, and a woman in her late 20s emerged, wearing a wrinkled waitress uniform and carrying a small, worn purse. She had the same kind eyes as Marcus, but they were shadowed with exhaustion and worry. Her hands showed signs of hard work, and she moved with the haste of someone always late for somewhere. "Marcus, honey, I told you to wait inside while I—" She stopped mid-sentence when she saw Terry sitting next to her son. Her eyes widened in total disbelief, and she nearly dropped her purse. "Ma'am, I'm Terry Crews," he said, standing up respectfully and extending his hand. He could see that she was clearly in shock, trying to process the surreal situation of finding a celebrity with her son. I know who you are," she stammered, shaking his hand nervously. "I'm Sarah, Marcus's mom. I'm so sorry if he was bothering you." "Marcus, what did I tell you about talking to strangers?" "Mom, he's not a stranger. It's Terry Crews," Marcus protested, with all the indignation an 8-year-old could muster. "And I told him about the shoes." Sarah's face flushed with embarrassment, and she looked at the ground, her shoulders curving as if she wanted to disappear. Terry could see the shame and frustration in her posture, the look of a parent doing everything possible, but still falling short of what was needed. "Sarah, there's nothing to be embarrassed about," Terry said softly, his voice filled with genuine compassion. He had grown up in a working-class family and recognized the signs of an honest struggle. "We all need help sometimes. Marcus was just explaining to me that he couldn't go to school today." Sarah tried to hold back her tears, but they began to form in her eyes. She maintained her composure in front of her son, but Terry could see how emotionally exhausted she was. "His shoes fell apart last week, and I've been trying to save up for new ones, between rent, groceries, and keeping the lights on." She shook her head, overwhelmed by the constant juggling act of single parenthood. "I work 2 jobs, Mr. Crews. I really do try to provide everything he needs." Her voice broke slightly. "It's just that sometimes there's not enough left over for the extras, and I didn't want him to miss more days of school. Education is the only thing that can change our situation." "Shoes aren't extras, Mom," Marcus said quietly, his childlike wisdom piercing both adults' hearts. "The kids at school have been asking why I haven't been going, and my feet are hurting." Terry knelt down to Marcus's eye level, looking directly at the boy. "You know what, champ? When I was growing up, there were times when my family went through hard times too. My dad worked multiple jobs, and sometimes we had to make tough choices about what we could afford." He looked up at Sarah, then back at Marcus. "But here's what I learned. There's no shame in needing help, and there's great honor in helping others when you can. Community exists exactly for this reason." Terry stood up and pulled out his phone. "Sarah, would you mind if Marcus and I took a little trip? I think we can solve this shoe problem pretty quickly." Sarah looked uncertain, her expression showing the internal conflict between pride and need. "Mr. Crews, I appreciate the gesture, but I can't accept charity. I'm working hard to provide for my son on my own. I don't want him to think I can't take care of him." "I understand that pride," Terry replied with an understanding smile. "But sometimes accepting help isn't about charity. It's about community. One day, when you're in a position to help someone else, you'll do it. That's how it works. That's how we pay it forward." Marcus looked hopefully between his mother and Terry, his young face full of anticipation. He could sense that something important was happening, something that could change his day, maybe even more than that. After a long moment of reflection, Sarah nodded slowly. "Okay," she whispered, her voice almost lost in the cold wind. "But just the shoes, nothing more." "Just the shoes," Terry agreed with a warm smile that lit up his entire face. He turned to Marcus, whose eyes now sparkled with pure joy. "Marcus, ready to go shoe shopping?" An hour later, Terry and Marcus sat in the local shoe store, surrounded by boxes and trying on different pairs. Marcus's face was absolutely radiant, as he walked around the store in a sturdy pair of sneakers, his first new shoes in over 2 years. The yacht store was small, but well organized with rows of shoes of all types. The manager, initially surprised to see Terry Crews, quickly got used to it and was enthusiastically helping. Marcus touched the shoes as if they were treasures, barely believing he could choose which ones he wanted. "How do they feel, champ?" Terry asked, watching Marcus take careful steps around the store, testing how the sneakers fit. "Like I'm flying," Marcus exclaimed, his joy being infectious. The sneakers he had chosen had small LED lights that flashed when he walked. "Mom, look, how they light up when I walk." Sarah smiled through tears she could no longer hold back, watching her son's pure happiness over something so simple yet so essential. "They're perfect, sweetheart. You're going to be the fastest boy in school." While they were at the checkout, Terry quietly spoke with the store manager and handed over his credit card, purchasing not just the light-up sneakers Marcus had chosen, but also a pair of dress shoes for special occasions, athletic shoes for gym class, and warm boots for the hay. Approaching winter. "Mr. Crews," Sarah protested when she realized what he had done, seeing the multiple boxes being packaged. "This is too much. We talked about just one pair." "Sarah, let me tell you something," Terry said, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Success isn't just about what you achieve for yourself. It's about lifting others up along the way." Marcus reminds me of myself at his age, curious, resilient, and full of potential. Sometimes we all need someone to believe in us. He knelt, down to Marcus one more time, his large hands gently holding the boy's small arms. "Now, I want you to promise me something. You're going to go to school every day, work hard, and remember that having struggles doesn't define you. How you overcome them does, and you can always count on me if you need someone to talk to." "I promise, Mr. Terry," Marcus said solemnly, then broke into a huge smile. "Can I give you a hug?" Terry opened his arms wide, and Marcus ran into them, hugging tight. "Thank you for making my mom smile again," Marcus whispered in his ear. "She hasn't smiled like this in a long time." As they left the store, Sarah pulled Terry aside, her words coming out in an emotional torrent. "I don't know how to thank you. This isn't just about shoes. You've given my son hope. You showed him that there are good people in the world who care." "You don't need to thank me," Terry replied. "Just keep being the amazing mother you are. And remember, this community is here for you. We look out for each other. And when you're in a better situation, you'll help another family. That's how we build a better world." 6 months later, Terry received a handwritten letter from Marcus, filled with drawings and stories about school, accompanied by a photo of him receiving a perfect attendance award. At the bottom, in careful 8-year-old handwriting, it read, "Thank you for teaching me that heroes are real and that kindness exists. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring real-life stories, and share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that kindness still exists in the world. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that matter." Danchi. You for watching, and remember, we all have the power to change someone's day.